What happened, Josh? Okay, we are going to get started with announcements. Tonight we're doing announcements first because I need to, tonight our 9th graders have their 6th commandment discussion. Hey-o! We still have people coming in. So we're doing things a little bit different tonight because I'm going to do the announcements, and then Avery and Emery are here to talk about penny wars again, and then they are actually going to listen to the noise of those coins. They are going to lead prayers tonight. Thank you, Avery and Emery. And if anybody else would like to join them, you are welcome to volunteer and help with prayers. And then there's going to be, and some worship songs before the prayers. And then we have a special guest teacher tonight. Miss LaDonna is here this evening to teach about Mount Sinai because Pastor Tim is with the 9th grade boys with Mike Boyack, and I am with the 9th grade girls with Laura Yannick. So let's get on with the show. So we're glad you're here. Lent begins next Wednesday, February 18th. 5:30 is dinner. We've moved up worship from 7 o'clock to 6:30, so it's a half hour earlier. We're hoping that means some of the younger families might stay with kiddos. So that's a new thing. 7th grade, your Lent crosses are due March 18th, so that gives you a month once Lent starts to be thinking about them, working on them. You write something up with it. It's all described on that sheet that you should have gotten. It's been emailed home, so if you have questions, ask your guide, and they will pass them on to us if they don't know the answer. 8th grade, we have a mentor meeting tonight with the 9th graders at 8 p.m., and you are going to be doing 3 mentoring sessions during Lent, when you're also going to be doing 3, all of you will have, there are 6 Wednesdays in Lent. You are welcome to do 6 worship notes. Let me tell you, they're kind of easy ones because there's no sermon. The 10th graders are sharing their statements of faith, and it's a special time for you to support them and hear their faith stories. So come during Lent, and that starts, so Ash Wednesday, there's no 10th grade statements. It's the imposition of ashes. And then the statements start on the 25th of February and go the next 5 weeks. So next thing, so I don't know who has the clicker. So you guys are just at the soundboard. That's awesome. Okay, so Kirsten's schedule. Starting Friday now, I need tomorrow to still wrap some things up. Starting Friday, I'm taking a mini sabbatical. Anybody have an idea what the word sabbatical means? Can you listen to the root of the word? Sabbatical. There's a commandment, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Anybody want to take a shot in the dark? What is the Sabbath? We think it's a Jewish word. Jesus was a Jew, and it was a Jewish thing, and it's continued on to our Christian faith to remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Did you say something, Grant? Did you say Sunday? No? Okay. Yes. We as Christians practice it on Sunday. Sabbath means day of rest. So I'm taking a mini sabbatical, which means for 3 weeks I am going to step away from this place and work really hard to not do any emails, text messages. In fact, they're gonna be off my phone, and I am going to take some time to read and write and play guitar and rest and just get a little renewal from some busy times that we've had the last year and a half. You all remember LaDonna because she was on staff, and then we hired Sabrina, and then Pastor Kent left, and we have Pastor Tim, and there's been all these changes. Do you know how many people we have on staff? Just 5. And so it's been, times of transition are a lot of work. So I just need a little bit of a time to breathe, and so we're trying to be really good modeling of what it means to practice good Christian habits of taking care of ourselves. So I will be gone from February 13th, this Friday, through March 6th. And then I'll return during Lent, so it's the best time to do it because we don't have Wednesday nights during confirmation, so you're not even going to miss me. No. I hope you do just a little bit. But so that was my schedule. Back up one more. Sorry. That means no Friday Night Lights in March or April unless someone wants to lead it. So that's your, if you are interested and you really want a Friday Night Lights, and youth, I would love to say that you could lead it, but we need to have adults to lead it. So we need at least 2 adults here to lead a Friday Night Lights. With the big fundraiser in March, I'll get back March 6th, and we have our big fundraiser on March 15th. It's going to be not a month where I can, and I've got the 10th graders getting confirmed. They have an event where they make their stoles and have a retreat. So March is out because of the fundraiser and the 10th graders getting confirmed. And February I'm going to be gone. So, but if you are interested in having a Friday Night Lights, talk to your parents and then have them talk to Pastor Tim while I'm gone. Okay, so any questions for me before I go in with 9th grade? Super good to have you all here. I've missed you because I haven't seen you for some weeks, but thank you for being here on Wednesdays. This is Avery and Emery, and Katie, they're going to help with prayers. Did you hear me say that? Okay, perfect. So here's the basket for your prayers when that time comes. And thank you, LaDonna. Let's say a thank you to Avery, Emery, and LaDonna for all they're doing to help tonight.
Okay, so we're Avery and Emery Cloth Hockey. We're seniors at Delano High School, and this is our independent service project for NHS. We did this last year, so the 8th and 9th graders remember this, but basically we are raising money this year for Camp WAPO scholarships. So if you are eligible to go or your little sibling is, you don't have to pay as much because we're raising money for that. Last year we worked to raise money for Gogball Pit in Belize, so that was fun. But Penny Wars begins today, and then it'll end sometime in like April-ish. So you guys have a lot more time than last year to raise money. But yeah, so we're trying to earn at least $2,500 for Camp WAPO scholarships. And yeah, so how it works is if you add $20 into your jug, that means it's 2,000 points. And so it's like you want the most points. So like $1 is 100 points, so it's like the decimal. And a penny, the whole entire reason why it's called Penny Wars is if you put a penny in 8th grade and you are a 7th grader, then they are minus 1 point. So they are 1,999 instead of 2,000, basically. And yeah, whoever wins the most points and has the least amount of pennies, actually, yeah, no. No.
Wait a minute, you actually lose points if there's a penny in your jug?
Yeah.
So if you have pennies and you want to make the 8th graders have less points, you put pennies in their jug.
Yes. So if your sibling is in 7th grade and you're in 8th grade, you probably want your sibling to lose. Then you put your pennies in the 7th grade jug. And if you are not in 7th, 8th, or 9th grade, pick the grade that your close friend is in. Yeah. I don't know. Do you want to add anything? Does anybody have questions? Any confusion? Did she summarize that good enough?
Remind everyone what the winner
Oh, yes. The winner gets a pizza party. So I know you all want that. Super exciting. Yeah, it's for a good cause. Last year we doubled our goal. So let's see if you guys can reach this goal. I think, yeah, it'll be exciting. Also, since the 9th graders aren't here, you guys could beat them because they won last year as 8th graders. So you guys should try and beat them this year so they don't win again. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's kind of it. Add all your spare change, and yeah.
Oh, I already see money. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's it. Anyone else have questions?
Thank you. Okay. All right, everyone stand up. We're going to get started with the rock, or AKA I Will Call Upon the Lord. We should all know this one pretty well. So sing along or clap along. I will call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. The Lord liveth, and blessed be the rock, and may God of our salvation be exalted. The Lord liveth, and blessed be the rock, and may God of our salvation be exalted. Boom, shaka-laka, laka, boom, shaka-laka, laka, boom, shaka-laka, boom. Okay. Should know the next one too. I'm trading my sorrow, I'm trading my shame, I'm laying it down, the joy of the Lord. Now we'll collect prayers. Oh, right, I'm sorry, write prayers and collect them. Okay. All right. Okay, now we're going to take a moment for prayer. So that means we have to center ourselves and be quiet.
How do we start? Okay, I pray that it keeps getting warmer. I pray that I pray that you be with me for my math test tomorrow. Lord, I pray that I do good on my math test. I pray for the homeless. I pray for people who are sick or have mental health. Lord, in your mercy,
Hear our prayer.
Dear God, I pray for the end of my basketball season to go well and anyone struggling finds help that they need. I pray that my archery meet goes well, and I pray for a good speech meet. I pray that my ankle gets better, and I pray for anyone in the hospital right now and my grandpa who is in heaven. Lord, in your mercy.
I pray for my ankle to heal and my LA grade goes up and I play good in my next game. I pray for volleyball practice to be more enjoyable. I pray for my tests coming up and for the volleyball practice. I pray for warm weather. I pray for my family and friends to stay healthy. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer.
I pray for my family. I pray that state goes good. I pray that I do good in my tournament and stay healthy. I pray for volleyball and for school. I also pray for people without housing. I pray for a good Valentine's Day and the homeless to be blessed. Lord, in your mercy,
Hear our prayer. I pray for a good test on Friday. I pray everyone can stay safe and healthy. I pray for more snow. I pray for everyone to be happy and healthy. Lord, in your mercy,
I pray for everyone to have a good rest of the week. I pray that my meet this weekend goes well, and I also pray for the poor. I pray for safety, good grades, and I pray that everyone will have a great rest of the week. Lord, in your mercy,
hear our prayer. I pray for my mom to get better. I pray for my safety. I pray for good grades and a good basketball tournament. I pray for good grades, and I pray for my family and friends. Lord, in your mercy.
All these prayers we lift before you, Lord, and we ask this in your holy name. Amen. Thank you.
Yes? Yeah, there we go. Hi. Okay, let's try something else. God is good. And all the time? Okay, there we got it. We got it back. It's good to see all you again. And you're thinking, oh no, she's back. Okay. So, tonight, Pastor Tim asked me to do the lesson on Sinai and Moses coming down with something. Anybody remember? Moses went up a mountain, he came back down with tablets containing the 10 Commandments. Why would God ask Moses to go up a mountain, stay there for 40 days and 40 nights, and come back down with law, the 10 Commandments? Because the people were so awesome, they needed something more to think about? No. Because God needed to give them a gift that says what humanity can and should and God desires to be. Now, that all sounds good, except that the people already had a bunch of laws, right? Anybody know about how many laws there are in the Old Testament? 560. Close. Try again. It's a little bit higher than that. It's actually about 640 something plus. So, and the people are like, how can we obey 600 plus laws, right? So, question for you. How many laws does the state of Minnesota have? Any guesses? I have to double check this. Any idea? Venture a number, any number. How many laws? More than 100? More than 200? More than 300? More than 1,000? More than 2,000? More than 3? They're guessing somewhere around 10,000 laws in the state of Minnesota. Now, all of you know what they are, so you don't break them, right? Cool. I can't even remember not to go over the speed limit coming here. So, they had this problem of like, how do we remember so many laws? And God said, okay, well, I'll help you out. I'll bring it down to 10. Anybody remember any of them? I know some of you have had this. We covered it in Voyagers and in Pathfinders, so somewhere along the line, you've had it. One of the commandments. Thou shalt have no other buts. Thou shalt have no other gods. Why would God not want us to have other gods? So now, like, when Moses came down from the mountain, this is one of the very first ones that they broke, actually. Because when Moses came down that mountain, and they had been gone for 40 days, 40 nights, what had the people done? They made a golden ox. And they started worshiping that as their God, because they needed a leader, right? And God said, this is never going to do. So, number 1, you shall have no other gods. You shall not take the name of your Lord God in vain. No swearing. And then there's the one that Kirsten referred to. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. And this one that everybody loves. Honor your mother and father. You know, all the parents spoke up on that one. No. So honor your father and mother, that it may be well with you and you may live long on the earth. God knows parents, okay? Just a little FYI there. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not lie, bear false witness, steal. Thou shalt not. What the 9th graders are learning about. Thou shalt not commit adultery. And you shall not covet. 9th and 10th are together on you shall not covet. You shall not want something that is your neighbor's, their property, their things, their livelihood, even their spouse, anything that is thy neighbor's. You should not want. Okay, so if you know me, you know that I don't like just being the only one that speaks a whole lot, So I want all the kids to come up here. Seriously, like all of you. Okay, just fine. I'm just trying to see where I want to put you. Okay. So I have some questions for you, okay? And this is one of those like timeline things, okay? We've done some of those. That if you think one thing, you're on one part. If you think another thing, you're on another. Okay. So you got to listen carefully because each one changes a little bit. Okay. So after hearing God's laws, right? He has 10 laws. Narrowed down from all the 600 and some that he gave. He narrowed it down to 10. How did God do? So if you think God aced it, like spot on, couldn't get any better than this, you're right over here. If you think that, well, those were pretty good, but if I were God, I would have added this, you're right up here. If you are, well, I don't think what was the third one? I think God should have eliminated the law about this. Or God did okay, but I wish he would have said these are just ideas instead of law. So God aced it, spot on, should have added, should have eliminated, or these should have been just ideas and not law. Go. 1, 2, 3, go. So some of these I know, because of the size of the group, is a little put together. How many of you are up here because you think God aced it spot on? Raise your hand. Okay. And God should have added? And God should have eliminated? Right? Okay. Okay. So if God should have, and nobody thought these were just ideas. I mean, I'm impressed with that. Okay, so for those of you, I'm assuming it's just this group right here, I'm going to put you on the spot, that God should have eliminated something, what do you think God should have eliminated from those laws? Stealing, because I like to get answers off my friend's test. Or lying, bearing false witness because I can get out of trouble or into trouble if I swear. And you're trying really hard not to say anything and not burst out laughing. I can tell that. I'm going to get back to you. Those of you who think God should have added something, what do you think God should have added? Respect your peers. Awesome. I like that. And why would that be a good law to have? Awesome. Well done. Any other? No, we just got all the peer people. And you all thought that God aced it. Spot on. Is that because he didn't want me to call on you? Or, we're in church, what else would it say? You can't say that. Yeah? Call on him, her. Do you have something to say? Do your friends have something to say about you? No. No, because we're going to respect our peers. I like that. Okay. Sit back down for a moment. Sit back down. I do have to say I'm impressed that nobody suggested that these were just ideas and not laws. And I know a bunch of you, and I know that you're usually a whole lot more noisier than that, but okay. This one I'll just have you stand up if you agree, or remain seated if you disagree. It's a yes or no. Adults can play this one too. Okay. Is there a difference between God's law and human law? Whoops, wait a minute. Yeah, I did the wrong one. Sorry about that. Okay, instead of stand up, sit down on if you agree or disagree. How many think that there is a difference between God's law and human law? How many disagree with that? All the rest of you. Anybody like not sure? So, what do you think is the difference between God's law and human?
I don't think God put any speed limits.
God doesn't break speed limits. You're like spot on, Josh. Although there's sometimes I wish God would hurry up it, you know. There's sometimes I wish God would be a little bit more speedy than what God is. Justin, what do you think is the difference? I didn't hear the last part.
Well, it goes beyond legality, but morality goes more at the heart of the matter.
Yeah. Exactly. Human laws are about legality, the legal things, like I can be arrested. God's law is more about respect, because I like adding that to it. But how we treat people. Because anytime that we don't do that, if we treat people badly, then we're not doing what God wants us to do. I'm a firm believer of that. So, is there ever a time, raise your hand if you agree, that it's okay to break a human law? Okay. Is there a time when it's okay to break God's law? And it's kind of a trick question, because although God's law deals with morality, it also covers quite a bit about all of our laws, because all of our laws are about how we treat people. It's about being fair to one another, coveting one another, or not coveting one another's property, kind of thing. If I'm looking at my notes too much, it's because I found out about this last night, so I'm like, what's the next thing on my lesson plan? So we have laws. I'm going to go back to, I'm going to jump off from that just for a bit, because I think the law that God gives us talks about quite a bit. You shall have no other gods. We have tons of gods, people. What are some gods that we have? Money. A good job. Being the most popular. Needing to have all the name brand goods. What happens when one group of people have anything that they want and the others don't? The ones that don't are not considered as equals, right? So one of the things that God goes, if I'm God and you're all following me, I'm going to provide all that you need. That's a promise. It may not be all that we want, but it's all that we need. What happens when someone calls you a bad name? Well, first of all, how many of you have ever been called a bad name? Phew, I thought I was going to be the only one there for a moment. But what happens when somebody calls you a bad name? How do you feel? Terrible. You absolutely feel terrible. And even if there are 10 people and 9 say wonderful things about you and one calls you a bad name, what one do you listen to? You usually listen to the one who calls you a bad name. It it hurts the most, it puts you down, it makes you not equal. And God said, I created all people. Remember the Sabbath. Why would we want a day just to be holy and to worship God? How many of you have calendars? And I know this is true of my kids and grandkids' calendar because they share some of that with me, and it's like crazy. How many of you have calendars or schedules that just seem way overfull, that there's not a moment of you time? What happens when you go 24/7, 7 days a week without rest or me time? We burn out, folks. That's when we start saying those bad things and doing those bad things and all that stuff. It's, we need that holy time. We need that time to connect and hear God say, it's okay, I'm here. I got you. Breathe. I had an email this last week from a person who was like, wow, I just have this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. I'm like, stop. Just breathe. Just breathe. Be still and know that God is God for at least 5 minutes a day. And if that seems like too much, make it down to 1 minute. But make sure you have that time each day that God is God. Honor your father and mother, we already know. Who's the ones who drive you around and pay for everything and provide for you? And, we may not always like them. If, my kids didn't always like all the rules that I had. And I would get the slamming in the doors and the, I hate you, I'm never going to talk to you again, blah, 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 blah. None of you have ever done that, I'm sure. But sometimes we forget. We forget that sometimes being a parent is super duper hard. Because being a parent says, I know that you really want to do this. I know that you're going to be mad at me. But I also am very afraid that something bad is going to happen to you, and I couldn't imagine my life without you. So I'm going to have to say no on this one. But they don't always say that. They just know that you'll get over their madness once in a great while. But they do the things that they do because they love you. Any parent want to argue that's here? I want to keep you guys engaged here too. So, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill. Those are kind of obvious. Why wouldn't we want to kill someone? Or maybe we do. I know there's been times in my life when I wanted to kill some people. I'm really glad I didn't. But sometimes we get in that we get so mad that we want to do something. But then I'm saying, my life is more important than yours. And God says, that's never the plan. It's never the plan. We're all in this together. And then we get about bearing false witness. One little lie won't hurt. How many agree with that? Or, thou shalt not covet. Wow, that's a really cool binder. I wish I had a binder like that. Oh, look. And then I end up stealing it because I really want that binder. Or hurting you, so you give it to me. He's like, are you serious? Oh. God gives us the law as a gift. We may not always see that, but it's a gift. It's a gift to keep us happy, to get us working together, to recognize that you and I are in this together, and not one of us, not me, not Pastor Tim, not anyone, has it all figured out. we're going to make mistakes. We're going to make mistakes. And sometimes we're going to make doozy mistakes. But does God ever stop loving us? Serious question. Does God ever, yes or no? No. God never stops loving us. We are in this together forever, which is a good thing. And sometimes doing the right thing, doing God's law, is hard. And there's one more example that Pastor Tim had on his thing that I thought was an interesting question, just because I'm like, oh, okay. So, a kid at your school that you know doesn't get enough food at home. You see this person go through the lunch line and pocket 2 extra milks without paying for them. You don't have the money to pay for with you. What do you do? What do you do? If you tell someone because you saw it and they're breaking the law, they're doing something wrong, stand up on this side of church. If you would just kind of ignore it because they really needed it and nobody's going to get hurt, you stand up on this side. Go. 1, 2, 3. You got to move. Okay. Hang on to that thought. You're right. Okay. I've been challenged here in that sometimes it depends on the situation. So I asked you a yes or no. Would you do something? Would you call them out on it saying yes? Would you not do anything and ignore it over here? No. But if you're not sure because it depends on the situation, you're in the middle of the aisle. You would call them out. Oh, so you would do it not to embarrass them, but maybe get help for them. Okay. That's a good train of thought. Situations where I don't know. What's your reasoning? What kind of situation would be something that you're not sure of?
Like someone couldn't pay for it and they really needed it.
Okay. Well, that was a scenario, is that they were hungry, but you knew that it was wrong. If you would ignore it or do something different.
I mean, I just need to know the situation.
Okay. We have some more in the middle of the room. I don't want to say here. We have some adults.
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on, if it's maybe happening every single day, then it kind of puts you in that situation of, like Carter was saying, do we tell someone maybe to get help? If it's the first time, maybe you say, oh, it's fine, we'll leave it, but so it kind of depends on.
Okay. So if it's only one time that you see it, what if you see it daily happening?
Then I need to be over by Carter.
Then you'd be over there again.
What about talking directly to him or her?
Why would that be an option? That's a good option.
Well, then you can figure out what's going on. What about Oh, I was going to bring up law and conscience. What if you can get an idea of how you can help? What if they have the means to pay for it and they don't care, Josh?
I feel like if instead of like you telling someone else and you have to talk to them. If you go up to talk to them, I feel like you could get across to them better than like someone who would enforce the law would, because they'd be scared to admit it, or if you come up to someone as an equal or a peer, then you ask them, I think they're more likely to explain their situation to you.
And the thing with that, too, Josh, and that goes with what you mentioned that God should have added, it's called respect for the person, too. Because they may have been turned down. We don't know that. We don't know any of the situation. They may not qualify for funds. Sometimes, and especially since the scenario said, you know this person. If you know this person and you know that they're hungry, then what might be some options? Not only just talking to them, but maybe the next day doing what? Either bringing the money with you or bringing some added food with you. Making sure that this other person knows that there are resources out there. Because a lot of people are like overwhelmed. I was with a lady one time that was going to apply for food stamps because she couldn't afford to pay for her kids, and they didn't qualify for some of the there were some situations that were, anyway, she was like $10 over the income limit that she made and was turned down for the resources. Now, I have a hard time with that, but it happens. And we don't know their story until we befriend them, before we show them that respect that we have for them as a person who cares about them. I'm glad that more of you would even ignore it so they got something.